Hello and welcome to this week's YouTube video. Is painting loosely something you'd like to be able to do? Do you struggle to master this technique and wonder what it is you need to do to learn this skill? In today's video, I'm going to show you how I painted Finfin in this loose and expressive style and explain why loose painting isn't actually all you may think it is. So let's get into the video and I will speak about what I'm doing as I go along. First of all, let me show you the reference photo for this painting. Finfin is lying on a very decorative bedspread, which I will not try to paint. I will edit it down in my painting and just try and give an impression of the colours that I see. The light is northern, so I will be dealing with warm shadows and a cool light source. I need to understand what I'm looking at before I start playing about with my paint. Before you even start painting, understand the type of light you are dealing with because this will determine your temperatures. Painting loosely is a bit of a misconception. The way artists lay their strokes from painter to painter does vary, and also the paint they use and if they add anything to it. All these things can be different between artists. But actually painting loosely doesn't mean throwing everything plus the kitchen sink at your painting. You can be very deliberate with your strokes and still achieve a loose-looking painting. It's all about creating the impression of what you are looking at, and there are some practical things you can do to help you achieve this. Number 1, get your drawing correct from the start. There are a number of different ways you can go about ensuring that you are able to paint confidently. You need to get your drawing correct. Depending upon what you paint depends upon how important this is. If you are painting something that is anatomical, you need to spend more time ensuring correct drawing than perhaps if you are painting some flowers or maybe a landscape. Because we look at anatomy every day, especially people, it becomes obvious when something is amiss. Dogs and cats are the same. They are very familiar in our everyday lives. How you do this is completely up to you. I like to draw my subject in pencil onto my canvas board and then I lightly scumble the paint onto the surface. It is very thin and sketchy. I use no medium. This provides me with a rough guide as to what I will paint on my main layer. I would recommend not spending too much time on this layer because the better it is, the less likely you are to want to paint confidently over it. You should feel that it looks a bit messy and a bit ugly at this stage. This rough layer will give you the confidence that your drawing is correct. If it is not, correct it at this point. Number 2, painting confidently. It sounds very obvious, but you need to be very deliberate with your strokes and lay them confidently. Lots of small little strokes will lead to a painting that looks more rendered. Less strokes will make your painting look more expressive and loose. If you are someone who is more prone to adding lots of little strokes, select the largest brush that you feel comfortable using and try and describe what you are painting in as few strokes as possible. This may lead to some errors in laying the wrong colour or value. If this happens, just scrape the incorrect paint off and have another go. Don't try and correct it by adding more paint on top of wet paint. All that will happen is that your bottom layer will muddy up your top layer and you will lose the freshness of your painting. If I show you my painting as it progresses after my second sitting, you'll see that Finfin's face is much more detailed. I have made the decision in this painting to focus in on this area and make the rest of it much looser and more expressive. Don't feel that your whole painting has to be loose. Pick a central point of focus and make your brushwork more rendered in that area. The contrast of the brushwork will force the eye to focus on your focal point. It's a good trick to use if I want to direct my viewer to a specific area. Number 3, edit out the detail. If I show you my reference photo again, you'll see how there is so much detail in there to paint. The bedspread could keep me busy for a month just trying to paint the pattern on it. Painting lots of detail will not lead to a loose-looking painting because the two things are completely opposite to one another. You'll also notice in the photo how you can see all of Finfin's individual hairs. The camera captures this, but in real life your eye would not see it. The eye sees one area very clearly and then it begins to blur as you move away from that area until it is very blurry on the periphery. This is called an iris blur. I would recommend squinting at your photo. This will not only edit out unnecessary detail, but it will help you see the larger blocks of value. Focus on painting these value blocks rather than the detail. Also, if you are working from a reference photo, pin it about 1.5 to 2 meters away from your workstation, so you are looking at it from a bit of a distance. You won't be able to see the detail and so won't paint it. If I show you how my painting of Fin progresses, you'll see I am just painting my value shapes. I've adjusted my values a little because I wanted to create a bit more drama in my painting, but you'll see there isn't much detail outside the face. Number 4, edges. Your edges are really important for giving the impression of a loose painting. The less edges you can see, the looser your painting will appear. Notice how you can see definitive strokes in some areas of my painting and not in others, and how in areas my edges just disappear. I can tell you that losing an edge sometimes can take a lot of work, but when done, it gives the impression of a very expressive painting. Take this edge for example. I cannot pull white into dark brown. That just wouldn't work because it would create a chalky smudge across that area. I need to bridge from one colour to another. Here I have used a mid-purple to bridge into my brown. Over here I have used a yellow-grey to bridge into that blue. And to get that lovely fur effect, I have pulled lighter colour over darker colour with an Eclipse coma brush. It takes a lot of work, a lot of blending, a lot of destroying and a lot of repainting. I have to build up the layers of different colours and values to be able to then pull the paint into each other and across and over the top. You need a lot of patience. I would also recommend not using medium in paint you need to control when laying it in the first instance. You can then use a little medium, like Gamsol, to brush over the top to help pull the paint across the canvas. Make sure you dab off the excess from your brush before you do this, and even add a little paint too. You'll find you don't have many attempts to get this right before the brush starts to remove the paint. So be decisive with your strokes if you are going to try this. I have used this trick in this area across the face and also the fur in Fin's chest. A dry brush will give you more control and you will be able to control the stiff paint better, but it may lead to unsightly edges. A wet brush with a little Gamsol will remove these edges very easily, but you have less control. To recap then, when creating a loose painting, understand that loose is just the final effect that you see, and good drawing, painting confidently, editing out your detail and paying attention to your edges will help you achieve this. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you can, and check out my website sarahhallidayart.com where you will find examples of my work and also details of online classes that I run. Thank you for watching and see you for the next one.